Hello chess fans, this is Rick from Chess to Impress. We had to wait a long time, but it's finally there. The Candidates Tournament 2018 is starting today in the Koolhaus in Berlin in Germany. 8 players will fight for the right to challenge world champion Magnus Carlsen in November of this year in London in the UK. 8 players, as I said, they have qualified in different ways. We'll go into that in a minute. And they will play each other twice, so it's a double round robin as we call it, so a total of 14 rounds. I will do videos on every round. I am planning to post them a few hours after the round has finished, so I hope you will follow the tournament with me. I have attached a poll to this video to find out who you think will win the candidates. You can find the poll by clicking one of the buttons on this video. I think it's at the top of the page. Let's look at the 8 participants. Let's look at them in the order of the world ranking. The first one is Shahryar Mamedyarov from Azerbaijan, 32 years old. World ranking number 2, just behind Magnus Carlsen, a rating of 2809, and this is his 3rd Candidates Tournament. He qualified by winning the Grand Prix, and his score against the other 7 candidates is +1. Mamedyarov. Then Big Vlad, Vladimir Kramnik from Russia, 42 years old, the oldest participant, number 3 in the world, rating of 2800, a nice round number, and of course he was the 14th world champion from 2000-2007. He was the man that beat Garry Kasparov. He then successfully defended his title against Petr Leko and Veselin Topalov before losing the title to Viswanathan Anand. He was the wild card. He was given the wild card because he didn't qualify in another way, and his score against the other participants is -4. We have Wesley So from the USA, 24 years old, number 4 in the world, and his rating is 2799. It's the first time he qualified for the Candidates Tournament, and he qualified by rating. -1 is his score against the others. Levon Aronyan from Armenia, 35 years old, world number 5, rating 2794, and he has been a candidate 7 times already. He qualified by winning the World Cup. His score is very good against the other candidates. It's +8, and generally Levon Aronyan is seen as the favorite for this tournament. But as I said, I wonder what you think. Fabiano Caruana from the USA, only 25 years old. It seems he has been around forever, but he's only 25. World ranking number 8, 2784 is his rating, and this is his 2nd Candidates Tournament. In 2016 he came 2nd behind Sergei Karyakin. He qualified by rating, and his score against the others is +3. Ding Liren, the first Chinese player ever to qualify for the Candidates Tournament. He is 25. Number 11 in the world with a rating of 2769. It's the first time, as I said, that he's a candidate, and he qualified by being the runner-up in the World Cup. His score against the others is +3. Alexander Grishuk, he looks grim and determined in this picture. From Russia, 34 years old and world ranking number 12. His rating is 2767, and he has been a candidate 6 times already. He qualified by being the runner-up behind Shahryar Mamedyarov in the Grand Prix. His score against the others is -3. Finally, Sergei Karyakin from Russia, formerly from Ukraine. 28 years old, number 13 in the world, and 2763 is his rating. He has been a candidate 4 times, and he qualified by being the winner of the last Candidates Tournament in 2016. His score against the others is not so great, -7. But he has proven that he can do it at the highest level. And of course he gave Magnus Carlsen a real scare in their World Championship match at the end of 2016. As I said, they will all play each other twice. There is 2 Americans and 3 Russians in the field. So to make sure there is no possibilities of compatriots helping each other, the Russians and Americans are playing each other in the first rounds. So it is all starting today, Saturday, March 10th at 3 p.m. Central European Time. That's a local time in Germany. It's 2 p.m. GMT and 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll see Kramnik take on Grishuk, Karyakin, Mamedyarov, Aronyan against Ding, And Caruana has white against Wesley So. So we see an all-American clash and an all-Russian clash in the first round to make sure that people from the same country don't play against each other in the final rounds. Of course, we have to play some chess as well on the Chess to Impress video, so I will show you one of the most spectacular games ever played in a candidates tournament in the famous Zurich tournament, Zurich in Switzerland, held in 1953. This game includes one of the most spectacular rook moves in the history of the game. It was played in the second round, and white was the Soviet Grandmaster Efim Geller, and black was the former world champion, the 5th world champion, Max Euwe from the Netherlands. It was played on the 31st of August 1953. Let's have a look at the game. Geller opens d4, knight f6 from Euwe, c4, e6, knight c3, and Euwe played the Nimzo Indian defense. e3, c5, a3 kicking the bishop, black gives up the bishop pair, b takes, b6, bishop d3, bishop b7, white has to be careful, there's a threat to take on g2 and then on h1. So f3 was played by Geller, knight c6, knight e2, Euwe castled, Geller castled, knight a5, e4, and knight e8. This knight will turn out to be a great defender of the king, as we'll see later. Knight g3, Euwe took in the center, c takes, and rook c8. And now black is attacking the c4 pawn twice with rook and with the knights. And Geller decides not to defend the pawn. He could have defended, for example, with queen e2, but he decides to sacrifice a pawn. He played f4. Euwe said, thank you very much, I'll take the pawn, knight takes c4, and there comes f5. And it looks quite dangerous. It looks like white has a very dangerous attack with his pieces coming into the attack quite quickly. These two bishops, the queen and this rook and the knight are all lined up to start an attack on black's king. The engine doesn't worry about white's attack and just goes for counterplay immediately with b5. But Euwe played f6. And there comes rook f4 with the simple plan of rook h4 and queen h5 and taking on h7. And you cannot really play h6 to defend against that, because then the bishop will take on h6 and ruin the protection around black's king. But Euwe spots a weak pawn. He played b5. This is a very instructive maneuver. He sees a weak pawn on d4 and plays b5 to get his queen to b6 to attack that weak pawn and get counterplay to distract white from his attack. Very nice move, b5. Rook h4 as planned, queen b6 as planned, and e5, very nice move from Geller, combining defense, because this rook is now protecting that weak pawn, and attack, as we'll see. It was not good to play queen h5. That is too simple, because then there's queen takes d4 check, and it's a queen fork on the rook, and after king h1, queen takes a1, queen takes h7, king f7, white's attack is not quick enough, and black is winning here with its extra material. So e5 was played by Geller, nice move. The pawn was taken by Euwe. You can take that pawn because the d pawn is pinned. You cannot take the knight. F takes e6, which is opening the bishop on d3, another attacking piece joining the party. Euwe decided to take that piece and Geller took back. You cannot take on d7, well you can, but it's not good. It looks nice, the pawn is almost promoting and it's forking, but black plays rook takes c1, nice move. And after rook takes, knight takes, you can promote to a queen, but it just gets taken. Queen takes c1, and that is a big advantage for black. After knight takes c1, instead of promoting, you can also play queen takes, but then knight c7, the promotion square is covered by black, and if we do a body count, black is a piece up. So after knight takes d3, Geller made the right decision to take back on d3 instead of taking the pawn on d7. Queen takes e6 from Euwe, and black is 2 pawns up. But for the moment this game is not about counting pawns. White is attacking. Instead, Euwe could have played g6 to try and stop black's attack. But then there is bishop h6 with great complications, which I won't go into here. Queen takes e6, the move that Euwe played, was better than g7, g6. But now, of course, white takes on h7 with check. Looks very dangerous. King goes to f7. And bishop h6 was played, which is a better move than the other option, queen h5, check, because then there is g6, queen back to h7 with check, knight interposes, bishop h6, and rook g8, and the white attack has evaporated, and black has a big threat with rook c2, eyeing up the g2 pawn with rook and bishop. We'll see something similar in the game. Back to the game. Geller played bishop h6. And now, are you ready to see one of the most famous rook moves in the history of the game? It is rook f8 to h8. What is that? Just giving away that rook. But it is a brilliant move, distracting the white queen to take over the attack. White was attacking, but now black takes over. White has to take, queen takes h8, and now the queen is temporarily moved to an inactive position away from the b1 to h7 diagonal. Which gives black time for rook c2, attacking the g2 pawn with 2 pieces. Geller, probably in shock, immediately blunders. He played rook c1, and that is a blunder, as we'll see. The move here was d5 instead of rook c1 to break the coordination of black's 3 attacking pieces. The queen, the rook, and the bishop. Not easy to see. Rook c1 was played. Geller wants to keep control of the c4 square after this rook moves to make sure the queen doesn't come in there. But it was a blunder. Rook takes g2 check was played by Euwe. And if you go in the corner, then you get checkmated very quickly. Rook takes g3 check. The bishop now gives check to the king. And we have mate in a few moves. White can only interpose his pieces to delay the mate. d5, bishop takes, rook e4, and checkmate. So after rook takes g2 check, the king cannot go to h1. So Geller went to f1, and now queen c4 check is prevented by Geller's rook on c1. But there's another way to bring the queen into the attack, and Euwe found it. He played queen b3, threatening to come to d3 or f3. And black is winning. King e1 was played by Geller, but he resigned after queen f3. He will be checkmated. If you, just to show the threat, if we make a silly move, a4 for white, we show how the checkmate works. Queen f2 check, king d1, rook g1, knight f1, and checkmate. It looks like white maybe can still play rook f4, attacking the queen. It's protected by the bishop. But then this square is no longer covered by the bishop because the rook is now on f4, and then there is queen e3 check, king f1, and several checkmate moves. A crushing win from Max Euwe with that amazing rook move, rook h8, one of Euwe's most famous moves. There's a little story attached to this. There was a schoolboy that sent Max Euwe a letter before he left for Zurich for the candidates tournament saying, "Can you please get the autographs of all the participants?" Euwe thought he had to do it, and he came back with all the autographs apart from Efim Geller. It's clear that Euwe felt he could not ask Geller for an autograph after this crushing defeat. Hope you enjoyed the video and that you're as excited about the Candidates Tournament starting today as I am. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe to the Chess to Impress channel. Please leave a comment, and you also may want to check out my Chess to Progress channel. The link is in the description box. This is Rick for Chess to Impress. Thank you for watching.